All right. This is a fun exercise, and we've done it before, but Ted, I know how much you love way too early mock drafts.
Yeah,
Those
favorite
are
thing.
they're your favorite. I know that they bring you just an abundance of joy. And I actually think they're fun, right? Because the NFL draft happens and then everyone releases their way too early first round mock for the 2024 draft. But it's a good way to know some of the players that could end up being, the biggest names in college football in the 2023 season. And like obviously Caleb Williams and all of these is going 1-1. That didn't make me feel particularly great. I'm sure that OU fans look at it and they're just like, dang it.
Yeah.
But
Well, he's going number one,
oh,
and he would go number one if he sat out a year. He's the best player. He's best quarterback by far, but the best player probably by some margin.
I I've had multiple people who do that for a living, right? The mock draft stuff and scouting backgrounds to say he's the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck,
Yeah.
which says a lot. Guy's good. He's good.
Yep.
But so you see these mock drafts, right? Caleb Williams going number one overall in all of them. You see Drake May, the quarterback from North Carolina, really high. Marvin Harrison Jr., the wide receiver for Ohio State, is going in the top 5 in pretty much all of these. But I looked at several, right? Ryan Wilson's from CBS Sports, Dane Brugler, our buddy Dane Brugler at The Athletic put one out. Matt Holder over at Bleacher Report put one out. I was unable to find a single way too early 2024 mock draft with an OU player in it, which can be upsetting to some people, right? Some fans could see that and say, well, I don't like that. And I agree with that. But it also leads to a fun question. What player on this roster is most likely to play themselves into being a first rounder in 2024? And remember, first round picks, great measurables, great great skill set, and at a premium position, typically. So what do you think? Who on this roster right now could play themselves into a 2024 first round pick?
It's a
I don't
very
like the length of your pause. I don't like
well
that.
because I think there may be one guy, and it's Tyler Guyton. I think that's it. I mean, Walter Rouse, like at tackle, like I don't know enough about him to think that he would work himself into a first round pick. It's hard. Like if you have a guy that's been around as long as he does, you kind of feel like you know what you're going to get. And if he was going to be a first round pick, he would have already been gone. Um, I defensively, I don't see anyone. Um, I you have a guy like Justin Harrington who I think is going to have an incredible year, and he would have an incredible combine. Um, but I just don't know about the position because he's going to be playing a position all year that he won't be playing in the NFL. He would either be a safety in the NFL or a linebacker, which I don't think he's going to be a linebacker. So it's way more difficult for teams to take a first round pick whenever you start to introduce variables in there. And where he plays is a position that doesn't necessarily translate to the next level. So that's why I wouldn't say him. The other best players defensively would be Stutsman, who, he checks all the boxes physically as far as size, weight, and stuff like that. But, he still has a lot of, like, frankly, what pro scouts would consider not good film. There's been times where he's getting, blown up by offensive linemen, run over. Sometimes on film, he looked slow at times last year as far as chasing guys and one-on-one tackles. And inside backer is not a premium position for the first round. So he would have to do something incredible, which I'm not saying he can't, but I would say it would be not likely. Am I missing anyone?
I don't think so. And I think it kind of lends to what we say a lot about this program. It's like you have to upgrade the talent, right? The talent has to, the recruiting classes have to keep stacking up. Yeah. Right. These top 5, top 7, top 8 type recruiting classes, because I'm with you, man. Tyler Guyton, that's the easy answer for me. The size, the length. If he has the summer he should have, he's going to be in the discussion as a top 15 pick. Now he's got to go prove it. It's not just about your measurables, man. It's about how you play along the offensive line, right? Skronsky from Northwestern, he didn't have long arms. Dude can play. Dude has the tape. They don't care. Give me the guy that can block people. So Guyton's got to go prove that in the 2023 season, that he can be more consistent and that he can play up to the talent that he's got all the time. You look at it, there are a couple tackles that are going to be in that draft class. The kid from Penn State is legit. I think you say Fashanu, something like that. Olu Fashanu. He would have been OT1 if he came out this year.
Sounds like a first round tackle.
Oh,
like, the name checks out.
He looks like $1 million. Joe Alt from Notre Dame is also a guy that's going to be in the mix. But yeah, Rouse is that's interesting. You bring him up. You and I, we've both been out there. The dude looks the part. That's for sure. I mean, 6'6", 315. If Beanbo can refine his technique, get him to play with a little more of an edge. He's a smart guy, really good personality, like all the stuff. There's a lot to like about him as a guy. Now, if Beanbo can turn him into maybe a little more of a savage as a player, I mean, he's a prototypical right tackle in the National Football League. I mean, the way he moves at the size that he's at, like he's got the skill set, but he didn't show, first round type tape at Stanford. He just didn't. That doesn't mean he can't make a leap this year, right? Learning from Beanbo. Maybe he does. I hope he does.
Right. Yeah. QB, tackle, edge, wide receiver.
See, that's the problem. When you think edge, as I look at the edge group right now,
I mean, Trace Ford would be.
No, he doesn't have the.
I know, but he's going to be. He's the guy this year that has the highest ceiling for us as a rusher this year. Now, in the future, we know Adebawore is like.
Yeah, remember this. We're just talking about guys that will be eligible for the draft next year.
Right. So, like, we don't have anyone at edge right now that you would consider a high round pick. Trace Ford, if he was healthy and had some type of incredible year, like
he just doesn't have the measurables. Like, I think he can be a really productive player, but just seeing him in person, he doesn't have the length, he doesn't have the size, and then you got the injury history. Like, there's no way. You know what I mean?
Like Woody is. I think he's going to have his best year, but it's measurables for him too. He's not going to have the measurables for a first round corner, and I think our other corner is going to be a true freshman, which is, pretty wild.
Yeah.
So, but, like Harrington, I think he's going to have an incredible year. And I think that there's going to be, if he plays the way that I hope he does and what he's capable of, if he continues to get the knowledge level up, he'll go run, he'll be 6'3", right around 220 and go run 4.3 at the combine. So, where you want to put him at safety? Okay, well, I think he could play it, but first round, I don't know. I don't know with him.
Billy Bowman, like if you're looking for a guy in the defense, a guy that, you and I are expecting to have a massive year, he may not have the ideal measurables, right? When you're looking what you're looking for from a safety in the first round. But dude, if he has the type of season we're expecting him to have, maybe it's just so dynamic and explosive and impressive that he becomes part of that conversation.
He needs to stay 4 years. Like the conversation right now with Bowman and like with Stutsman, I can't imagine a first round. Great. There's only 32 first rounders, man. And it's hard to get into that group. But if both of those guys have good years, solid years, great years, and then come back around for the final year to do it again, have a year in the SEC to go play some big time teams and play well against big time teams, that can change the conversation.
Right.
You know, I don't think either one of those guys should be in a rush to go to the NFL. I think Bowman would do better in the NFL, like where he is right now, than what Stutsman would do. I think Stutsman needs 4 years.
Gotcha. All right, let's get to call your shot, because we asked y'all what player for the Sooners do you think could play himself into being a first rounder in the 2024 NFL draft. This first one comes from Matt A. Bear, Hebert. A. Bear.
That works for me.
Hebert. I'm guessing it's A. Bear. He says, DG. QBs regularly move up the draft board since it's always a position of need. If a healthy Gabriel plays consistently and OU gets back to 9 or 10 wins, he'll have the eyes of lots of teams and should have no trouble moving into the first. Doesn't need a Heisman season to do it. What? First of all, at his size, right? And he is, 5'10" and a half.
Yeah.
He's the same size as Bryce Young, right? He's 5'10" in the 205 to 210 range, right? So we just saw a guy that size go number 1 overall. Right. So you know that the size, it doesn't mean what it used to mean, but he's got to take a big jump with his decision-making, his accuracy. And if everything clicks, who knows? But saying that he doesn't need a Heisman season to do it, that's just crazy talk. A guy that size to play himself into being a first rounder, you may need to win the damn thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's the type of season you have to be a first round pick at that size at quarterback.
Well, and there's going to be, so you got Caleb Williams at quarterback, Cam Rising, Bo Nix,
Drake
Penix Jr., Drake May. Who else out there? I mean, there's going to be quite a few guys out there at quarterback.
JJ McCarthy, I saw him in some of the mock drafts from Michigan.
Yeah.
Who's got the size and the athleticism.
Yeah.
Got some more to prove, but
the kid from Arkansas, you know, if he stays so, he would have to have the type of year that he would have to be a first round pick would have him right there in the Heisman conversation for sure. Finalist at a minimum.
At a bare minimum. So I mean, that's just, you have to have a special season if you're Dillon Gabriel, right? To be in that conversation.
NFL will reach on quarterbacks in the first round. There's no doubt, we've seen it. They will reach on quarterbacks in the first round. But usually guys they reach on are guys that are like prototypical, like athletically sized, just incredible arm strength. And it's like, he's raw, but we'll work with him. That's not Dillon Gabriel. That's not the mold he's in.
You can just say it's Anthony Richardson, man. You don't have to tiptoe around it.
It's not just him. I mean, we've seen it in the past. Like Josh Allen was the same way, right? Yeah. I would consider him a reach. Like big guy, strong arm, incredibly raw, not very accurate, but you know, he's got tremendous upside. Like Dillon Gabriel will have to squeeze every ounce out of what he has to work with in order to get there. And I think that'd be tough. But I hope so. If Dillon Gabriel gets drafted in the first round, that means this year went really well for the Sooners.
Yeah, we're going to the playoff. And you and I are getting drunk in a hospitality suite. That's what it means. All right, this other one comes from Jonesy, who says, Tyler Guyton is the obvious choice, but if Danny Stutsman balls out with a butt kiss award type season, he could be a possibility too. We talked a lot about that. I hope it all comes together for Stutsman, man.
I think he's going to have a really good year. Think, if he picks up where he left off last year, which I think he should be close to that, by the end of the year, he should be playing really good football. If everyone else, and that's the thing I've been saying, you have to have everyone else around you playing great too. Like the defense, rarely can you just go in the first round unless you're an absolute freak, unless you come from a good defense. And an inside backer, the type of guys that have been going first round, an inside backer are usually inside hybrid edge rush guys. Other than that, you typically don't have first rounders.
Right.